Hey everyone, it's Monique here, and I'm going to give you the best tip ever on how to transform, release, change what you're triggered by. Maybe not change, because you don't want to replace it with something else that you're triggered by. First of all, why would you want to get rid of a trigger? Well, I'll tell you. A trigger is a motor reaction, a habitual reaction to something, and it usually doesn't feel good. The thing is, when you get triggered by something, it means you're taking that something serious, and you will have another reflection of it because you have an emotional, habitual response to whatever it is that you have that response to. So when you get triggered, you can be sure and certain that you will walk into a similar situation or the exact same situation again. Now, how do you get rid of a trigger? Because when you get triggered and you're a conscious creator, and you know, like, oh, when I get triggered, I will create more of it. I don't want to get triggered. So then you get scared of the trigger and you're like in this vicious cycle that is also a downward spiral. And nobody got time for that shit. So, what do you want to do? When you get triggered, you can't do anything about it, it's habitual. But what you can do something about is the second response to the first trigger. So a trigger is nothing more than a reaction. You can respond or react. React is and respond is I think that I will do this with it. So response, you have like their space between the stimulus and your response. A trigger or reaction is usually like snap. It's the I think they call it the lizard brain. Yeah, which is not really relevant for how you get rid of the trigger. But here's some nice information for you. So, the response, the second one after the trigger, you are in control of that. So, when you get triggered, you first of all don't get triggered by getting triggered. You say, ah, you know what? This is what I'll think about it. And I'm going to give you an example. So let's say, for instance, yeah, which happens a lot in India. So let's say, for instance, people stare at you. Like, and when people stare at you, you can make it mean anything, right? Because some people just have resting bitch faces, and so it's very easy to think that they think not such nice things when someone has like such a face. I have a face like that too, and usually I think pretty happy and lovely thoughts about others. So, no judgment here, or maybe a little, and whatever, not, not what this video is about. So, let's say I get triggered from someone having like that stare. So, my first reaction is, stop doing that, like an emotional response. Then the second reaction, response that I have in my control, I can say, ah, that's interesting. I think that they're thinking lovely thoughts about me, as an example. Or my response can be waving, which I do often. When people look at me, I'm like, I nod or I wave, and usually they respond pretty friendly. So that's how you then start to train yourself. That's how I train myself to not get triggered anymore by people staring at me. And you can take this for anything you get triggered by. It doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is that the second response you have, which is in your control, is one that you prefer. Don't fight against the trigger because it will only make it bigger. That's a rhyme that was not intended. Don't fight the trigger, it will only make it bigger. So stop that, don't fight it. Try to become indifferent to the fact that you were triggered, or not even try, just become indifferent to the fact that you were triggered, and then instantly respond in a way that you wish to respond always. And then you train yourself, you train it like a muscle, your auto motor reaction, you train it, and before you know it, you have the muscle to not get triggered by that thing anymore, and then physical reality can change. Because as Bashar says, change is not what happens on the outside. Change is what you do with what happens on the outside. And when you do something different, when you're not triggered anymore, then 3D reality will change. It has to, because it will only show you things that trigger you. Well, not only, it also shows you amazing other things. But in case of triggers, it will keep showing you what triggers you. And there's a reason for that, because we are giving away our power to things and situations and people all day, every day, until you start to learn about conscious creation and you're like, wait a minute, who's in charge here? I am, with my thoughts, my feelings, and my belief, what's alive in my consciousness. And Peter Crone says it in a really beautiful way. These are his words, but it's the same, different words, different teacher. He says, life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal to you where you're not yet free. One more time. Life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal to you where you're not yet free. So when you get triggered, it just means you're not free in that department, in that thing that you're triggered about. Nothing's wrong, you're human. But if you don't want to create more of that, then have your second response to the trigger be the one that you would love as a first response. And so you practice, and voila. Okay, that was a repetition, but repetition works. So, as always, I'm going to end with this. A fit mind, it creates a beautiful body and an epic life. I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Ciao.